For centuries, scientists have been fascinated by the subject of where and when the earliest humans landed and lived in North America. New evidence has emerged from a recent find in the center of Oregon, but the argument is still causing controversy in academic halls. Evidence that dates human habitation and colonization in the Americas to thousands of years. Rimrock Draw, a rock shelter in central Oregon's high desert, has drawn attention from archaeologists. It is the oldest human-occupied settlement in North America, older than previously found sites, according to the evidence gathered here. When archaeologists initially set out to investigate this shallow cave, which is situated just outside the tiny town of Riley, in 2011, the Rimrock Draw dig got underway. The team has worked extensively at the site under the direction of archaeologists from the University of Oregon's Museum of Natural and Cultural History. They have meticulously excavated the site without destroying any items, using the most recent archaeological methods and equipment. Numerous hints regarding prehistoric human activity have been found at the site. Animal remains, handcrafted stone tools, and weaponry constructed of unusual materials are among these discoveries. It was long thought that the Clovis culture, the first humans in the Americas, arrived some 13,000 years ago from Siberia via a land bridge known as Bangia. They were believed to have entered through a passageway between two sheets of ice that was clear of ice. New data, however, casts doubt on this theory. It seems improbable that the Clovis people used the corridor to spread throughout the continent because, according to studies, it probably didn't open until 11,000 to 12,000 years ago and was unusable for ages. The discovery that the Metacraft rock shelter in Pennsylvania is the oldest known human occupancy site in North America, with artifacts dating back at least 16,000 years, gave this question even more weight. Cooper's Ferry in Idaho was then identified as another early human site, dating to approximately 16,000 years ago. According to a proposal known as the Kelp Highway hypothesis, these sites indicated that humans were present before the ice corridor opened. They most likely moved by boat down the Pacific coast, passing through a rich coastal ecology that included kelp forests, seals, and shellfish. But everyone was going to be stunned by the Rimrock Draw. When the crew discovered pieces of camel jaws and teeth, it was the first significant discovery. It's crucial to keep in mind that camels originated in North America before moving to Asia and Africa, where they eventually went extinct. The Camelops hysteris, a species of camel from yesterday, is the owner of these teeth. These beasts weighed up to 1,800 pounds and were 7 feet tall at the shoulder, unlike their contemporary dromedary counterparts. These were not just any camel teeth or jaws. Based on some intentional human markings on the camel and the existence of some equipment found in close proximity to the remains, which we shall discuss in a moment, scientists assume that this camel was killed by the human occupants of the rock shelter. In archaeology, volcanic ash is gold. It provides an undeniable timestamp through a process called terrorinology. Each volcanic eruption ejects ash with a unique chemical fingerprint that can help scientists distinguish separate eruptions. This specific ash had been laid down by an eruption of Mount St. Helens. The major eruption that took place more than 15,600 years ago is called the Set S eruption, not the eruption that happened in 1980. The teeth were successfully sealed by the ash layer, keeping them intact for millennia. These camel teeth were found beneath volcanic ash, indicating that whatever was there had to be older than 15,600 years. The focus then shifted to the science of dating. The camel tooth's enamel was radiocarbon dated by geologists and geochemists. The analysis's findings were astounding. The camel's tooth enamel was dated to around 18,250 years ago. It is important to note that the term before present or BP is used instead of years ago due to a scientific convention. BP dates are calibrated against the year 1950, the standardized point in time when extensive radiocarbon dating began and nuclear testing started to contaminate global carbon-14 levels. In addition to the camel tooth enamel, the excavation team uncovered some finely crafted stone scrapers made from orange agate. It is an exotic material, meaning it must be carried there. The presence of this specific stone indicates that these early humans traveled specifically to gather high-quality materials or traded with other groups to obtain them. One of these scrapers, after discovery, was subjected to residue analysis, a chemical process that checks for ancient proteins. It was found to contain traces of bison blood residue. This is the smoking gun. You might wonder how blood survives for thousands of years. It survives because the proteins get trapped in the microscopic fissures and cracks of the stone tool, protected from bacteria and ultraviolet light, effectively fossilizing the residue. This shows that the tool had been used to butcher large game, likely the bison antiquus, the larger ancient ancestor of the modern buffalo. Another scraper was discovered later, buried even deeper within the volcanic ash. This provided further evidence that the site had been occupied well before the eruption of Mount St. Helens. The intentional use of orange agate, a non-local raw material, to make tools shows a degree of technological expertise and experimentation, suggesting that they spent enough time in the area to find, test, and return for the best resources. Rather than being merely a short-term visit, this behavior is strongly suggestive of a more permanent, long-term vocation. This indicates that when the last glacial maximum was at its peak, humans first settled in Oregon. The thickest ice sheets were present at this time. The sea level had dropped hundreds of feet, and since the implements were found farther down in the ash, humans were butchering bison and camels at Rimrock Draw 18,000 years ago. The layering of the sediments, the stratigraphy, indicates that they predate both the volcanic eruption and the camel teeth. This follows the law of superposition, a fundamental principle of geology. In undisturbed layers, the oldest material is at the bottom. This means Rimrock Draw rock shelter at the moment is the oldest human occupation site in North America, predating the famous Clovis culture by more than 5,000 years. Some archaeologists involved in the Rimrock project argue that the site may be even older than the current dates, suggest potentially far older. The current benchmark date of 18,250 BP is derived solely from the camel tooth, which was found above the deepest artifacts, and is therefore not the oldest material in the shelter. In archaeological science, when a date comes from an associated animal, remain rather than a directly dated tool or hearth, it is treated as a minimum age, a no later than marker. In simpler terms, if the camel was already lying there 18,250 years ago, then anything buried beneath it must have been deposited earlier. This could mean that early humans may have been using the shelter during a period approaching or possibly surpassing 20,000 years ago. As more of these deeply buried artifacts are dated, especially tools with traces of preserved animal residue like the bison blood, the picture of early American occupation will only grow clearer. The definitive, unquestionable solution to one of humanity's greatest mysteries continues to be the ultimate prize as excavations proceed. Who were the original Americans, and when did they come to live on this continent? I appreciate you watching. If you thought this information was fascinating, you may share this tale with another history fan, like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Until the next discovery, see you on the next one.